So Minecraft Dungeons has finally wrapped up all its DLC content, and they claim that the game is finished. But with a player base of 11.5 million, we'll see if they stick to that finished claim. Regardless though, we've been given 6 DLCs total, and while each brings something new and different to the table, some were definitely better than others. So today, let's rank the 6 Minecraft Dungeons DLCs from worst to best. But keep in mind, that's just my personal ranking. If you disagree, you can let me know in the comments down below. But if you enjoy this style of video, be sure and give it a like and subscribe as well. But let's get back to ranking the Minecraft Dungeons DLCs. The final DLC that was released is also the weakest, Echoing Void. First off, to even access this DLC, you have to go back to the base game and replay through 6 levels to find the Eyes of Ender. This can take hours depending on your skill level, and just comes off as more annoying for players who are looking to jump right into that DLC. Then once you have access to it, the first level, the Stronghold, isn't even a full level. There's more of an area to place the acquired eyes in, and then side paths to accumulate great weapons. It's not a terrible level, but it's really short, and it feels like it was just added in to give players a good place to farm weapons and such. The 2 core levels of Echoing Void, though, are very empty, only have one true puzzle mechanic, this little bubble gun thingy here, and come off as a long, anticlimactic journey for the close of the game. The final boss, the Vengeful Heart of Ender, redeems the DLC a bit with having one of the best boss fights in the game, but he can only do so much, leaving Echoing Void as the weakest of the 6 DLCs. Creeping Winter comes in second to last because it is probably the most uninspired DLC. Similar to the Echoing Void, the levels felt nearly empty and there were no puzzles or anything to figure out along the way. The weapons you acquired, like the Snowbow, were lame additions compared to any of the DLCs that rank higher on this list, and still, why do polar bears drop cooked salmon? It just makes no sense. The final boss, the Wretched Wraith, was an okay boss fight, but overall, these levels felt like massively missed opportunities. Winter levels have so much they can do theme-wise. Just look at literally any winter level made by Nintendo. So much charm, so much charisma, so much fun. But then, we have this. This DLC would probably honestly be in last place if it weren't for the fact that you could just simply start the levels when you buy it, unlike the Echoing Void. Flames in the Nether included the most levels of any of the DLCs, but as you jump into them, it quickly becomes evident that they went for quantity over quality, with all of them following very linear paths, having no puzzles to figure out, and leaving the secret scrolls just out there in the open. There's just not a lot to do in these levels. The scenery in the levels is pretty good with the hellish fortresses and the hellish forest and the hellish skeleton backbones. You get the point. They wanted to go hellish. And just being creepy in general, but I can't help but wish that they add more variety to the gameplay like they did in some of the other DLCs. Plus, they didn't even include a boss for this DLC. Yes, we had the Jihast, but come on, that is not the same as a final boss, and this DLC needed a final boss. The weapons in the Flames of Nether is where the DLC really shines through though, with the mechanized saw blade acting as your personal chainsaw, harkening back to the Doom games, and the Bone Club allowing you to participate in the haunting landscape. Like, which side are we even on with weapons like this? Are we sure we're the good guys? I mean, we're chainsawing people with swords at this point. The artifacts were also top notch with the Blast Fungus and the Power Shaker, allowing you to blast enemies out of the water, or the lava. Overall, Flames in the Nether had some cool aspects, but the lack of a final boss and the levels being way too linear with no puzzles, put this one at 4th place. There's a lot to love with Hidden Depths. This is the first DLC on the list to truly get its atmosphere correct. The underwater theme is top notch, with clams and sea turtles all around, including even your own pet sea turtle, hidden underwater temples, and a separate oxygen meter that you have to keep refilling in order to survive underwater. They nailed the atmosphere perfectly. This DLC also had its fair share of puzzles to keep the players invested, and one of my favorite weapons in the entire game, the anchor. I just love slamming it into the ground and watching the hordes of enemies just fade away. The boss of this level is the Ancient Guardian, which is a pretty sweet battle against a giant evil fish. It reminds me of the boss of a game I played growing up called Guardian Legend. Like the 2nd or 3rd level has this giant evil fish, and hang on, Ancient Guardian, Guardian Legend? Did I just find the inspiration of Ancient Guardian? Maybe. But while there are some glitches on this boss in my first playthrough, I've heard that they since corrected that, which is good to hear for future players. The reason this DLC doesn't get higher on the list is due to the infuriating path you have to go through to find the hidden scroll to unlock the second level. It's hidden in the dimmest locations with hidden side paths to even get to it, and it takes an eternity to find. And it's not even a fun area to go through. And on top of that, the cave which houses it doesn't even appear every single time either. This took a really great DLC and turned it pretty darn frustrating very fast. But before and after that part, Hidden Depths, great DLC. The first DLC that was released, Jungle Awakens, and this one set our sights pretty high as to what Minecraft Dungeons could offer in the form of DLCs. While this DLC doesn't have as many puzzles to figure out, it makes up for it with its intense charm and uniqueness. I mean, we get a full panda sanctuary, and ocelots, and an ocelot suit. I mean, come on, ocelot suit. The enemies in the DLC are all pretty great with trolls, killer plants, and vine summoners, and they really tried to make this whole DLC thematically correct. The weapons are also fantastic in the DLC with the whip, which has one of the most unique movesets in the game, and the love medallion, which turns enemies into allies to fight on your team. The final boss was the Jungle Abomination, who was ridiculously easy, and while the challenge would have been a little bit nicer, this DLC was more about the experience than the challenge, so I don't think he's a bad final boss. Truth be told, there's nothing really wrong with this DLC, and it would have been in first place if it weren't for our #1 pick just being so completely amazing. Good lord, do I love Howling Peaks. This is the DLC where they got nearly everything perfect. The color choice, the animals, the mountains, even the wind that blows you off the edge is charming. This to me is the perfect atmosphere, and honestly, I would live here if I could. But it's not just the atmosphere that's perfect in the DLC. The 3 levels included all offer something completely unique. Windswept Peaks takes place on top of the mountains as an action level, Gale Sanctum takes place in a temple as a puzzle level, and Colossal Ramparts takes place all around a castle as an adventure level. No other DLC divides up the themes of the game and gives a level dedicated specifically to that style. And the levels are all masterclasses on how to create that style, especially Gale Sanctum. These are seriously the best puzzles in the entire Minecraft Dungeons game. Even the final boss, Tempest Golem, focused on being a puzzle mixed with action. Now I did say earlier that this is the perfect DLC, but truth be told, there is one pretty big flaw, and that is the secret exit is a little too hidden. Like in Hidden Depths, the game doesn't tell you if the secret area spawns or not. It takes about 30 minutes to get to that place where it spawns. So you might have to take multiple trips to actually find access to the secret exit if you want to get to that second level. While this is infuriating, I can't let it prevent me from seeing that literally everything else in this DLC is the best the game has to offer. If you could only purchase one DLC, Howling Peaks would have to be my pick. Plus, it has the GOAT gear. But what are your rankings for the DLCs? Which one would you put on top? Which one would you put on the bottom? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, go out there, find a great game to play. Just simply have a great rest of the day.